Hello and welcome to the Power BI May 2022 update. In this video, we'll explore what's new this month and see some demos of the highlights. We have some exciting new updates for you in the reporting section. But first, we'd like to take this opportunity to let you know that we're listening to you, the Power BI community. Every day, our teams are hard at work addressing your feedback. And it's for this reason that we moved out the general availability for the new format pane to the June release to allow us to continue making improvements. As always, we encourage you to please keep sending us your feedback on the format pane so that we can capture any issues you encounter before general availability. This month, we've added a new user preference setting to expand all subcategories by default when you open a card. This should feel familiar to authors who used the old format pane behaviour. We have now included previously missing formatting options that were available in the old format pane and made it easier to search for colour and conditional formatting options. Rosie will show us a demo of the changes this month.
In May's updates for the new format pane, the biggest news is that we've pushed GA out another month to June. This gives us more time to collect and address your feedback. Speaking of which, we've heard an overwhelming amount of feedback on the subcategories creating extra clicks to complete your task. We've now added a new user preference setting that allows you to change the default expansion behavior that will keep all your subcategories open by default. We've also heard feedback on the rename of the cell elements card has been a hard adjustment. We now added a search alias for cell elements to also match on the keyword conditional formatting.
We've also now added the ability to zoom in on the canvas. For report readers, this is especially important for improving the readability of the content in a Power BI report. For report authors, this helps to magnify the canvas for you to make sure your report is pixel perfect. Simply drag the slider to set the zoom level or click on the zoom percentage to launch the zoom level dialog and type in a custom input. To go back to the default view, select the new Quick Fit to Page button. Rosie will take us through a demo of this feature.
Shifting gears, we'd like to announce the new Canvas Zoom feature. You may be familiar with the zoom control from the model view. This is now available for report view. I can drag the new zoom control to easily zoom my report canvas or click on the zoom percent to open the dialog and set the zoom from here. The Fit to Page button quickly gets you back to the default view.
Next, we're excited to announce a new preview feature called Field Parameters. Field parameters allow you to dynamically change the measures or dimensions being analysed within a report. This feature can help you explore and customise the analysis of a report by selecting the different measures or dimensions you're interested in. Sujatha will show us a demo of this powerful new feature.
This month, we're super excited to announce a brand new public preview feature called Field Parameters. Before I get into the details of the feature, I want to set a little bit of context. So with Power BI, we know that a lot of creators love building interactive experiences for their end users. And one of the common scenarios for that is allowing end users with the click of a button to be able to change what measures or dimensions are being used across multiple visuals within the entire report. So really allowing for dynamic scenarios so that end users can really customize what they're analyzing based on what their needs are. However, setting up those experiences for creators is not always easy, and in fact, it can be very time consuming and a huge pain to manage or improve as you make changes later on. So now we really want to simplify that experience, and the way we've done that is with the feature called Field Parameters. So before I show how the feature is set up, I want to first give an example scenario. So here I'm looking at a report that's analyzing products within my company. And I want to give users the ability to quickly change visuals on the page and pick what they want to measure and also how they want to analyze those measures. So in this example, right now my default measure is price I've selected, and I'm looking at it by the different models. And now with a click of a button, my end users will be able to select different measures from what I've specified here. And you notice that all of the visuals on this page have now been updated to reflect that measure. So here we see COGS has been plotted, and then we now see COGS has also been included in this table as well. And so I can do the same with dimensions by picking a different field to use instead of model. So now instead of model, I've picked category, and we see now category has been updated in both of these visuals here. You know, the beauty of this is that I'm not only giving these interactive experiences for my end users, but I'm also doing it in a way where it was very easy for me to create. So now I'm going to show you a quick example of how I would create this field parameter. So let's say here is, a starting point for a visual that I'm using that's using a field parameter for measures. Let's say we want to go create a parameter for the access. So essentially it's going to be a certain set of dimensions that we want to be dynamic for this visual. So the way that we're going to do that is we're going to click the modeling tab here. And then you'll see this new option that says new parameter. If you're familiar with what if parameters, we are essentially extending that concept, and instead of just supporting numeric range, which is what if parameters was supporting, we're now supporting an option for fields. So just go ahead and click the drop down and select fields. And now let's call this parameter dim for dimensions. And let's go ahead and select some dimensions that we might be interested in. Let's go ahead and see let's maybe do company name. And then let's also add in color. And then we can add in name. And then the cool thing about this is, let's say if you have some ambiguity in your field names, you can also just quickly double click on the names itself here, and you can completely rename it so that it's more understandable to your users. Another quick thing you can do is you can always drag and drop or change the sort order if you want things to be displayed in a certain way. So let's go ahead and change this one as well. And once you've selected your fields, and also in this case I've done just dimensions, but you can of course do a mixture of both dimensions and measures, we can go ahead and click create. And it'll automatically create a slicer for me. And I can go in if I want to format this slicer differently, or if I want to change any options, like make it such that it is a chiclet slicer like this, kind of our horizontal slicer. I can also specify whether I want single select or multi-select. Those things you can also customize in the format pane. And then now that we have this slicer here, what we're going to do is we're going to reference that slicer in other places. So let's say in this visual we want to reference it within the value within the x-axis. What we're going to do is open up the fields list, and then we created that parameter dim here, and you're simply just going to drag and drop it onto the visual. And now we see that color parameter, or the color field that's been selected within the parameter, it's now being rendered in this chart here. And so it's really cool that now I can just quickly flip through different values, and I see the chart being updated based on that value. So all I need to do is reference that field in the parameter and reference it in different visuals to be able to dynamically update what those visuals render based on the selection of this slicer. So now that you saw an example scenario and some setup, a quick setup example, I can also show another scenario that might be really beneficial, a beneficial use case for field parameters. So this scenario here, instead of separating dimensions and measures, I now am creating a dynamic table based on a combination of measures and dimensions. So this can be really helpful if, especially if you have a ton of fields and you don't want to publish a report that has all of those fields from the get-go, but maybe just allow users to really customize what fields they want to visualize in this table. That could be a really useful scenario of, maximizing the flexibility that your users have while also making sure you're not, you're being very cognizant of what space you have available to display. And so that you're not essentially publishing a report that has a ton of different fields all on a single table, but rather have the end user customize what they want to see at a certain point in time. So that's it for the demo of the feature. We really hope that this makes it a lot easier for creators to build interactive experiences for their end users and also maintain and update those experiences with a lot more ease. Feel free to provide feedback as always, since this feature is still in public preview. We plan to make more improvements in the future, and so also check out our documentation to learn more about what is available in the feature and also what might be some limitations in the current public preview.
Next, team admins can now enable or disable direct query connections to Power BI datasets in the admin portal. While this is enabled by default, disabling it will effectively stop users from publishing new composite models on Power BI datasets to the service. As with similar settings, you can also specify whether you would like the setting to apply to specific security groups or to the whole organisation. Please keep in mind that even if this setting is disabled, any reports that leverage a composite model on a Power BI dataset which were already published to the service will continue to work. Further, even if the setting is disabled, you will still be able to explore the dataset in your local Power BI desktop environment and create the composite model, but you won't be able to publish the report to the service. A couple of things to remember: this setting is solely for direct query connections to Power BI datasets. And remember that live connections to Power BI datasets and live or direct query connections to Azure Analysis Services will continue to work. Next, we're excited to announce that Data Point Rectangle Select is now generally available. With this feature, you can now multi-select data points by clicking and dragging over a supported visual. As a reminder on how it works, when editing a report, you can create a selection rectangle by holding down the Control key and clicking and dragging within a visual. Letting go of the mouse will toggle the selection state of all points overlapping the selection rectangle as though you had clicked each one. You can also click and drag while holding down the Shift key instead to only add points to your selection without deselecting any currently selected points. This month we've also introduced keyboard controls to help you access Data Point Rectangle Select even without a mouse. Pressing the S key while focused on the plot area or a data point will enter a rectangle select mode, displaying a crosshair on the visual. You can move the crosshair using the arrow keys and speed up that movement by holding down the Shift key. Then, when you're ready to start drawing the rectangle from the cursor's position, hold down the Space key and use the arrow keys again to draw the rectangle. Then let go of the Space key to finish the selection. We've also added a new keyboard command to clear your selections on the visual by pressing Ctrl-Shift-C. Data Point Rectangle Select is available for line, area, scatter, tree map, and map visuals, and you can select up to 3,500 points at once. Next, we've continued our work on error bars, and this month we've brought the feature to combo charts as well. After enabling the preview feature, you can create error bars using the same method as before. Drag upper and lower bound fields into the field wells in the error bars card of the Analytics pane, and you'll find the same formatting options for the line and column portions of the visual as their respective chart types. Next, the ArcGIS for Power BI has also been updated. This visual releases with Power BI Desktop and is maintained by Esri in collaboration with Microsoft. The visual is updated regularly to provide new features, improved speed and usability, and bug fixes. The 2022.2 update is a quality release, including performance improvements and bug fixes for a variety of features, including reference layers, infographics, geo-search and pins, sign-in, and tooltips. For more details on all the improvements, check out the link in the video description below. Next, in the Data Connectivity and Preparation section, we have several new and updated connectors for you this month. First, we're excited to introduce the Factset Rms Connector. This connector leverages the power of Factset's IRN API to integrate research data into Power BI. This allows users the flexibility and control to customize how they consume Factset's IRN using Power BI's data visualizations. Other data sources can also be integrated to further enhance the Power BI experience. We're also excited to release the Funnel connector. Funnel makes it easy to report on your marketing performance, collecting data from all platforms across your customer journey, from advertising to analytics to social to CRM. Transform and clean your data with recommended and custom rules, then send it over to Power BI for insights. With this integration, Funnel helps more marketers and analysts take full control of their reporting stack and make more data-driven decisions. Next, we've also updated the Azure Databricks, Denodo, Google Sheets, and Autodesk Construction Cloud connectors. For more information on all of the new behaviours and bug fixes, check out the monthly release blog post linked in the video description below. Next, we have a variety of features for you in the Service section. First, managing Power BI subscriptions just got easier. We're improving the subscription management experience to provide workspace admins with new oversight and management capabilities over all subscriptions created against artifacts in a given workspace. If assigned the admin role in a workspace, you can now view all subscriptions that have been created for Power BI reports, dashboards, or paginated reports in that workspace, regardless of owner. Information on the subscription name, owner, report or dashboard name, and content type is provided. Admins can also now make edits or take over subscriptions that are not their own. Other workspace roles will still have access to this updated subscription management page with a more limited view. To learn more, check out the blog post linked in the video description below. Next, we've updated the Dataset Details page to make it even easier for you to gain insights on top of your data. Once you discover a dataset in the Datasets hub, click on the dataset to open the Dataset Details page. We've brought some exciting new functionality to you this month. First, you can now quickly create a report from an existing single table dataset. When you do this, Power BI automatically generates a summarized view of your data. You can also change the data you see in the report with the Your Data pane, which allows you to add or remove fields from your report. Select and unselect fields to update what you want to measure and analyze, and Power BI will automatically plot meaningful charts based on your field selection. Second, we've made the new authoring experience for exportable formatted data tables available via the Dataset Hub. Next, we are deprecating the capability to add a featured dashboard as your homepage on the Power BI service. This deprecation will be rolling out between April 29 and June 1st, depending on your geographical location. After this point, you'll no longer be able to add a featured dashboard as your homepage on the service. You can still promote your dashboards through favoriting, and currently featured dashboards will still be visible. We are also deprecating the Dashboard Performance Inspector in the Power BI service between April 29 and June 1st. Next, we have some exciting updates for you in the mobile section. First, goal updates are now available in the activity feed. The Power BI mobile app activity feed helps you stay up to date with all of the activity and updates for your content. Starting with this release, your activity feed will also include changes and updates to goals. Now you'll be able to more quickly understand and react to the status and progress of your goals. Not only can you get right to the goals details inside the scorecard by tapping on the goal in the activity feed, you can also update your goals directly from the feed itself via the Quick Check-in button. We've also changed the minimum Windows operating system version required by the Power BI Windows app to Windows 10 version 16299 in preparation for Power BI's WebView 2 upgrade. App upgrades for Windows devices running on earlier OS versions will not be available. Next, in the Developers section, we have a couple of API updates for you. Our new File Downloads API enables custom visuals to export data from the visual into files. Downloads require user consent and a global admin switch to be enabled. The new API is available with the 4.5 API release. And further, with our new 4.2 API, we've added additional attributes to the Expand Collapse API for the matrix data view. Supports merge, which indicates if expansion state should be updated rather than reset when the query projections change, and restore projections order from bookmark, which indicates that the bookmarked expansion state should be restored even if the query projections order no longer matches the expansion state levels. Next, we have some exciting new updates for you in the visualization section. New visuals available for you on AppSource this month include the Razor visual by Premo, the Mass Filter visual by Insiders.coop, the Preselected Slicer visual by Insiders.coop, the Data Refresher visual by Insiders.coop, and the Tmap visual by MyLocks Inc. Updated visuals include the Dumbbell Bar Chart by Nova Silver, the Drill Down Map Pro visual by Zoom Charts, and the Charticulator visual, which is now generally available. This quarter's editors' picks are the PAF Now visual by Process Analytics Factory, the Power On Visual Planner Service visual by Power On, the Image Pro by CloudScope, and the Linear Gauge by Mac Software. Finally, we'd like to ask for your help with our Power BI desktop infrastructure update. As we switch to WebView 2 as part of our update, we want to be sure that we've solved as many issues as possible. Starting with this release, if Power BI detects an issue with WebView 2, you'll receive a message specifically mentioning WebView 2 and asking you to report the issue. If you see this message, please help us fix any outstanding issues by clicking the Get in Touch button or by responding to the community forum post, which we've also linked in the video description below. We thank you in advance for your help. And lastly, we'd like to invite you to join us on the Power BI Community Show. Subscribe to the Power BI YouTube channel here for the latest updates on when the show will be airing. You can also join us on community.powerbi.com. And that's all for this month. Thank you so much for joining us, and as always, we hope you enjoyed the updates, and please keep sending us feedback on what you'd like to see in upcoming releases.